Don't you dare click away from this video. The scariest, most nightmarish thing you've ever seen is about to happen. But not now, later in the video. So stay tuned for that.
Let's get this to 100,000 likes for more episodes.
Hello, Wanna Nation, as our friend Zooey LeFou would say. Yeah. It's Gus and Meg back for another freaking video.
Banger
and today
of a
we're
video.
talking about, we're talking about something that we have been a fan of for a while on YouTube. Meg, would you care to fill the people in on what the luxury brand of channels is?
Okay, I did a video about these guys back in 2020. A lot of the specific content has changed since then, but my opinions on them still overwhelmingly positive. So I found out about these guys, Chester and Parker, through Danny Gonzalez roasting them, and they're actually incredible. The thing about it is Chester and Parker started off their YouTube career making gold digger pranks and fake pedo sting videos, just really low effort stuff. But then at some point, they transitioned from that to making really weird, low-rent, sort of Ghost Adventures style videos. And they're actually amazing. Not even in a so bad it's good way. They are good on purpose for the reasons that the guys want them to be good. And I think that's just the best.
And for those of you in the audience who already know the content of Life of Luxury or Luxury Reacts or Luxury Dark, you know that these guys have a formula which they stick to in terms of the way their videos are paced, but which they can deviate from to create twists on the formula. Mainly, it's always some supernatural happening is going down in a house in the perpetual night world that these guys live in.
The perpetual night world, and I swear it's always the same house.
Yeah, it's one of maybe 3 different houses.
The exteriors will be different houses, but when they go in, it's always the same house, because I feel after watching a few of these videos, I feel like I could navigate that basement with my eyes closed.
And here's the great thing about it too, is the fact that it's always dark and the fact that it's being done with these black and white cameras, because that's the other thing. They always set up cameras in these houses they're investigating. You get the sense that even though these houses are basically the same rooms, it's also how would not every house basically just look the same if it was this unfurnished and at this time of night?
And they have sheets of plastic hanging everywhere for some reason.
And also the consistency of the monsters in this world. There are times where they'll deviate from the norm, but most of the time it is the tallest man with the scraggly longest hair you've ever seen.
Yeah, he's got a bald cap with kind of riffraff from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, stringy hair.
Yes, exactly.
And really long arms. The thing about the effects in a Life of Luxury video is it's I can tell that it's fake, but I don't know how they did it.
I think that while the scenarios themselves are pretty unbelievable and the effects aren't on the level you would expect for even an indie horror movie, the sheer consistency of everything, whether it's the way the creatures look, the way that Chester and Parker act, and the way that all the houses and everything about the videos, it all creates this atmosphere that you believe everything because it's consistent within itself.
Yes.
And so what we're going to be doing here today is we are going to be highlighting some of our favorite videos from this line of channels and just sort of giving props where it's done and pointing out where their formula can produce some really unique, interesting videos.
So Henry made us a greatest hits compilation. There were a lot more that I think about basically every day of my life that we weren't able to find the specific episodes that the moments were from. I might bring some of those up later, and I have also watched some of their newer stuff, but for now we're going to focus on this playlist, which starts with He Loves Watching Her Sleep.
For those unfamiliar, it usually begins with they get a distress call from usually a young woman from age 18 to 20 something.
Sometimes they throw you for a loop and it's a guy or an older woman, so they're not so strict with that age formula.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that in the earlier episodes, they were just like recruiting their friends to do it.
In this case, they got the call from Bailey, whose father has been in some sort of accident and is acting very strange.
And her mom and her sister have disappeared. And her dad, who we never see what he looks like before, but post quote unquote accident, he is the long guy with the long arms and the scraggly riffraff hair and the digitally deepened voice.
He looks like a Life of Luxury monster. Also, I gotta say, in the section that they were talking to Bailey in, there's this one line that really sticks with me, because occasionally the scripting in this will just produce a really good horror line.
I think you're about to say the line that I also wrote down.
Every night I can hear him groaning. I'm not sure if he's in pain.
The thing that makes the Life of Luxury videos such effective horror is the level of ambiguity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, they don't belabor anything. They don't spend a really long time on any of this. They don't beat anything into the ground. They just kind of will bring up some really upsetting thing and then just like, anyway, we're moving right along.
Yeah, because we have talk with Bailey, brief encounter with the father, and then it's time to hide the cameras, as is the way it's done.
Yeah. The other thing that's just so scary is when they find Bailey and she's like cowering in the corner in her room crying, and the long man is just kind of hovering over her and going, "Daddy loves you. I just wanted to make sure you knew that." And it's so scary.
Yeah, he's a really long man. Usually there's like a preliminary encounter and then the hiding the cameras, and that's the lead into the sort of paranormal activity style view of the house. We get like the monster attacking.
And then Chester and Parker go to sleep.
Yes, every time they go to sleep. I'm gonna be real. When I was a teenager and I was not that familiar with the horror genre, this is what I thought every horror film was. People falling asleep in some kind of scary house and an inexplicable, ambiguous nightmare showing up and attacking them. I thought horror was always meant to be this incomprehensible. And in a way, I think that's kind of the charm of these videos, because there is a story beat in this first one that I think about from time to time because it answers nothing and only unsettles. It's deeply... Oh, Meg, do you want to talk a little bit about the instructions VHS?
So when they are putting the camera in the dad's room, they are going through all of the drawers, and Chester opens up a cabinet and finds an old CRT telly with a VHS tape next to it labeled instructions, and he puts it in the TV, and this weird janky I Am the Walrus ass clip starts playing, where a weird guy, different weird guy, but similar looking, in like a black leotard, doing sort of like silent movie style overacting, like with intertitles. It's like, "Hello, friend, here are the instructions." And it's step 1, trap. Step 2, become. And then Parker turns the TV off before we see what step 3 is.
And the thing is, we get a confirmation of the dad watching this tape later. So you can only imagine if Chester and Parker watched this tape to completion, they too would morph out into the long man.
The other thing that I had completely forgotten about this particular episode is that when Bailey sends Parker a text and he runs in and her phone is on the bed and she's been dragged into the closet and her phone is on the bed and it's got texts, the same text of come now, come quickly, sent to everyone in her contacts.
Yeah.
And she, and Parker goes, "Bro, I don't think Bailey was the one texting me." Because earlier on, Bailey said that her dad had been asking to meet her new friends from uni.
Yeah.
So that is the very scary implications when you think trap, become.
It raises a lot of questions that don't get answered. I also just gotta say, I love the characterization of these two guys. We'll get into it more, but Parker in particular, and his very like, bro, I'm just like nonchalantly trying to help, like attitude is so funny.
He's so funny. Like, he'll be like, Chester, don't be rude. He's been in a car
Yeah,
accident.
and like Chester will have the like, did you see his body? He's not even human. And Parker will be like, whoa,
yeah,
dude.
Chester will be like, oh, I don't know, Parker.
Dude, that's like really crazy to say. Like that poor guy, he's clearly been injured. So one moment that I really love from Parker in this is when like Bailey's like, I just don't know what to do. Like I feel so alone right now. And Parker is there like in her room with her and he's just like, yeah, all right, have a good night. Just leaves.
That's so funny, especially when you compare it to, this is one of the clips that like I'm obsessed with but wasn't able to find which episode it was from. But there's an episode where when they go to the girl's house, Parker like sees her phone on the bedside table and sees a text from her boyfriend and then just leaves.
Oh my god. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that like you get the sense that Parker, when it is like, you know, these young women that they're helping, while he never like directly like hits on anybody, he gets something out of it that like it's like, oh, a single woman needs my help and I'm here for it, or like I'm here. but crucially, he always sleeps in the same bed with Chester, and they always like, you know, they room together. Those two guys have like, you know, like a special bond that he's not going to let any other person get in the way of, even if he like, you know, hopes that something may come out of it.
I also love the fact that Parker and Chester always sleep in the same bed when they go to an investigation, and it's like they make jokes out of it constantly. Like there's one where there's two separate beds in the guest room and Chester like pretends that like his one is dirty so that he has to go in and with Parker.
Yeah.
Which I just find so very charming, very funny, very cute.
No, it's adorable. And also, you pointed this out way back when in your video, but the fact that, like, they always fall asleep, even though there's nefarious stuff going on in every one of these houses, they are always too sleepy to actually do like most of their job.
Yeah, they always sleep through the thing that they're trying to investigate.
And especially with Parker, they'll really emphasize, I think there's like makeup involved, of just like these huge bags he has under his eyes, because he seems like he's never like actually slept outside of the times we see him sleep in the videos. And it's usually just
so
from
funny.
like 1 to 3 a.m. when like the first part of the nefarious stuff happens, and then they wake up and they inevitably have to flee, which is what happens at the end of this first one, and Bailey gets got. A lot of these have bleak endings.
They have like a 50-50 success rate, if that.
Every time these guys show up, it is like, maybe they'll help, maybe they won't, you know? It's maybe they're a little bit better at conflict resolution than the local police force, so that's why they end up there.
The next one on the list is We Found a Clown in Her House, which is a bit of an older one.
But I think what's interesting about this one is that it feels like it has a very solid thematic metaphor that maybe like, you know, it like ties into the roots a little bit of these guys like going after like abusers and like pedos, like, you know, sort of setting up those like, you know, sting videos. Cause like this, well, do you want to explain a little bit about like the characterization of one Scratchy the Clown?
They get a call out to this woman called Sarah, whose husband has started acting unusually cruel towards her and is like getting up to leave in the middle of the night and like talking to somebody through the screen door, but she can't see who it is. And most worryingly of all, he will just start dressing up like a clown and doing a clown routine to nobody that he films. And the film of his clown routine is it is that like I said, the uncomfortable ambiguity of it is in this weird space where it is both extremely funny and also really unsettling, because I'm thinking all the time about, he's like leaning over awkwardly to be in the frame of the phone, which he's like put on the floor, and he goes, "Ooh, oh, hey kids, it's me, Scratchy the Clown, jazz fingers, everybody loves Scratchy the Clown," and then he stands up and does the worst like smoker's cough ever, and then just goes back to doing the clown stuff, and that makes me laugh so hard every time.
There are two things I love about Scratchy the Clown. Number one, it seems like he's in constant pain, like being himself. And number two, I love that he's barely a clown. Like, other than the grease pants and the makeup, his outfit is like bed sheets, and he puts on the same kind of like long, like scraggly, like bad thin hair that the other monsters have.
Well, that's just the wig that they have.
It's just like the main thing about clowns is that they're like colorful and whimsical, but I like that he's like basically like a man dressed in a pillowcase with grease paint and long, scary, greasy hair. That's Scratchy the Clown.
But there's like a moment where they overhear him yelling at his wife, and he says, "Don't humiliate me by bringing people into this house. Do I look like a clown to you?" Which makes me think he does not want to be a clown, and like the fact that he is becoming a clown is like a source of much tension in this marriage. Like, he got bitten. My theory that I came up with in my own video is that he got bitten by the clown from the like, we bought a clown on the deep web video, and so now he's turning into a clown kind of werewolf style, but he's like really sensitive about it, and he's taking out all of his frustrations on his wife.
See, I think there's like a bit more of like a metaphorical route to this, because like both of them are like very young, and this clown behavior is like pretty new into the marriage. So my thinking is he was a clown the whole time, in the sense that, you know, he was gonna start acting this way and being mean to her and being like weird and clownish, but she didn't know that before the relationship began, and such is the case, unfortunately, with a lot of like young marriages, especially in America.
Yeah.
I think there's the like a metaphor for like the idea of like, you know, this is not the person I thought I married. There's someone else here, and they're like, you know, a clown, a malicious clown who makes the house unsafe.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's kind of how this ends, is that she ends up, in order to sort of keep the marriage, or at least placate Scratchy the Clown.
Once again, they find a videotape, and when they put it in, it's her in like a clown collar and like shittily applied clown makeup, being like, "I am staying with my husband. Do not look for me. It's fine."
And I just love the exchange here, because it's so funny and so like weird. Like the tone of like the way Chester and Parker act to this is so like, it threads the line perfectly through between like tragedy and comedy, because like Chester's like, "Well, it seemed like in the video she wanted to become a clown," and Parker just going, I don't think she wanted to do anything in that video," is what he says.
I love the way that, like, Parker and Chester interact with the world around them, because it's that perfect, like, the perfect formula for, like, a good horror comedy, in my humble onion, is the horror stuff should be played straight, but the characters' reactions to it are what should be funny.
Oh, totally.
Like the monsters shouldn't crack jokes, is what I'm saying. Like, the monsters should be played straight, but like the people reacting to it can have funny reactions. And Chester and Parker are perfect, because it's like the people that they're interviewing, like the acting is pretty good. You always believe that they're like scared in these horrible situations. But Chester and Parker just have like the funniest, like passing one brain cell back and forth between each other. They'll see something like the fake note that the dad wrote that's just like, "Hi daughter, went out for food, love mom," and and they'll be like, "Whoa, what is that? I don't know, I guess she left a note."
Yeah, no, it's like they react to the absurdity of the world as guys who don't have the full, like, facts and knowledge. Like, it makes you feel kind of in sync with them as the viewer to just be like, yeah, I too am really confused. And I think that makes it pretty, like, well constructed. Because, again, all of them are not sort of meant to deliver, like, you know, some sort of, like, thematic, complete narrative the way a horror movie might. They're there to, like, you know, spook you and scare you and entertain you a little bit. But I do just, you know, before we move on from, like, we found a clown in her house, I do like that this kind of has, like, a little bit of a bookend, like, encapsulation of, like, what happens when someone just kind of disappears into an abusive relationship. Because, like, the parents at the end also get, like, a VHS tape of the same quality. You know, it's like, now their daughter's just a clown married to another clown. And that sucks, you know? But it's pretty compelling, honestly. It's a good one.
So next on the list we have, he's been living under her bedroom floor.
Yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned that there's like good acting for a lot of the interview things, because I think in this one I was not really convinced of Jennifer, the person they interview there, but I think the fact that there's like a mixture of good and bad acting, it really does kind of sell this feeling of like nobody's sure how to react to like the weirdness of the world that they're in.
And I mean, when you think about it, she is in a much less distressing situation. She has to stay in town because she still has to go to school, but her parents have gone on holiday, on like a ski holiday without her. And when they're not in the house, she hears noises in the basement. This has one of my favorite, like, sort of ending tags. Because at the end of an episode, they'll always have a, like, and then we took the footage to the police, and they said that man had been dead for 4 years. Something like that, and it's just text at the end.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to that. But first, let's go through what the threat itself is in this.
She's just got the rake down there. He's just in there. The rake. You know the rake? From the internet? He's in there.
Yeah, it is basically just him, but he's living in this like massive like extra room in the basement that there's like clearly like a smashed in part of the wall. And I love when like Parker and Chester discover this. They explain it to her as like, yeah, there's like a small hole and like someone carved a small crawl space in the wall.
No, that is not a small crawl space. My favorite thing about this one is that they nail a board up to keep him from getting out.
Right, because they see this menace roaming around the house on the first night, and like you know, he like takes one of their cameras, which like, you know, they lose a lot of cameras on this job, but
they do.
But like there's clearly some sort of like, you know, freakazoid humanoid running around the house at night, and all three of them see it, like Jennifer and Chester and Parker, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, let's just put a board up over that and stay a second night. And like Jennifer goes like, do you think I'll be in danger tonight too? And Parker's like, no, probably not.
And then my favorite thing is, all right, so they put this quite like flimsy pallet up. They like nail a pallet up to them. And then what the monster does, the monster cannot get past the pallet, and he becomes enraged, and he becomes so enraged that he jumps up through the ceiling and through the floor into her bedroom. So it's like, okay, so the flimsy wooden board stops him. The floor of a house does not stop him.
Yeah. And credit to Jennifer, at least, in like the blocking of like when Parker and Chester like run in and discover her. It seems like she has like pushed the bed to the side over where the creature has emerged, and given what we know about this creature's proportions, he's clearly just like hanging on with his upper body through this hole and probably like kicking his legs around like in the air. Like he cannot get through.
This was the first one, this is one of my like favorite episodes that I've seen so far, because it was the first one that I remember having like a really good sort of like a digital effect. Because I think it's a very simple, like, green screen him through the floor. But it works because of how, like, low quality the black and white camera is. So it is really effective.
No, it's so true. And also, the aforementioned bed pushing means that he can have, like, the actor playing the creature can have his, like, lower body underneath the bed and be grabbing at the bed sheets. And it still looks like he's emerging from the floor.
Yes, exactly.
Here's the thing about this. Like, in addition to the entertainment value, there are so many little like low budget filmmaking hacks that you can learn from like watching these videos and paying attention. I think this is like one of the reasons why we respect these guys so much, is that like clearly, you know, it's like they you know, obviously they have like, you know, lots of like views like on their videos, and they like got big, and like that's probably helped them acquire a lot of resources, but you don't see them like splurging on all of their videos the way you might like you know, a Mr. Beast, for example.
Yeah, no, it is they keep the like lo-fi spirit because I think they know that that's what the people want.
Speaking of what the people want, before we move into the next video, the ad reads that Chester and Parker have.
And then I have a little ad read I would like to read. I would like to say after that. But we'll talk about the ads in these videos. They have the classic, like really shady, like Raid Shadow Legends, Swag Bucks kind of like dubious sponsors. But their ads are so funny.
In execution, the way that these ads are carried out is that Chester and Parker are still mostly in character. Like, Chester is wearing sunglasses at night indoors, and Parker still has, like, the bags under his eyes. They're acting a bit more chipper, but it's still the weird Nido dimension where nothing makes sense and these boys cannot think straight like an adult their age would. Like, it reminds me a little bit of, like, Common Etiquette, like Big Money Salvia's ad reads.
Yeah, but I think sometimes
those go on a little bit too long sometimes, I think.
Yeah, those go a little too long. These never overstay their welcome. I am obsessed with the one where he's like playing Pong and he loses and he punts his computer out the window and then Parker busts the door down and goes, "Hey Chester, what's wrong?"
He's just like, "I'm sick of all these games." Yeah.
And my favorite, I love the fact that at the end, when they do the, like, final call to action, like, go to whatever.com/Lux,
they get possessed!
Their heads go down and then back up with a robotic sound effect, and then they turn to the camera.
Like a servo.
And then say in complete deadpan, absolute unison, like the twins from The Shining, follow the link in the description. Kills me. They're so funny.
Now, we love putting a little stank in style on, like, an ad read, you know, especially, like, you know, when it's the personalities involved with the video. Speaking of which, Meg, do you want to hop into our ad read?
I am currently raising funds to make season 4 of the Kingmaker Histories, which is my fantasy adventure audio drama. Season 4 is going to be a lot bigger than season 3 with a lot more moving parts, and we would really, we can still fund it ourselves, but we would really like it if nobody had to work for free this season. So that is why we are asking for you, the fans, the listeners, to help us raise $6,000. There's more information on the Kingmaker YouTube channel, and there will also be a link in the description below. If you're a fan of the Luxury Boys, while I was rewatching these videos, I realized that I can't tell if Life of Luxury has influenced my creative sensibilities, or if it's just I like it because it is very much in line with my creative sensibilities. We hit our milestone of $1,000 raised, which means that we will be releasing the Kingmaker Halloween special where they meet Dracula. And that absolutely has the energy of a Life of Luxury video. I don't have any of it made, so I can't play a clip, but you'll see what I mean when it comes out. And also this kind of like, recurring thing of like, all right, guys, we sort of solved the problem. We absolutely cannot get into it any deeper than this. We have to leave.
There is some shared DNA with the Ire Winterlich and Co. and the Deluxe Boys, you know? I just gotta say, too, one of the things that gets me so hyped for Season 4 of the Kingmaker Histories is that the amount of effort you have put into historical research to create this sort of steampunk alt history means that what is coming next in the years that you will be depicting are going to be some pretty heavy stuff in real world history, and there's a reason why the scope is expanding, because real life history's scope kind of jumped the shark a little bit in real life. So if you want to see more of that, help us get Kingmaker Season 4, help us bring more of the shows that you love to you. With that being said, let's get into the video called "It Was Hiding in Her Closet."
And this is the one with the like creature that comes out of the hole in the floor and goes into the skin.
Yes, the meat husk, as it is called.
Husk.
Oh, wait, we totally forgot. Sorry, you brought it up, but in the "he's been living under her bedroom floor," the sting at the end with the text.
Stinger at the end is so scary because it's like, so this is one of the ones where she gets out. She does not get got. They get her to the car. They get her in the car and they're taking her to somewhere safe. And the stinger at the end is that they sent the footage to her parents, who immediately blocked their numbers and also blocked their own daughter's phone number, which such scary implications that they like left her there as a sacrifice to the thing under the floorboards.
They were gonna feed her to the rake, which is not cool and not good family behavior. I hope that Jennifer is in some sort of group living thing now, or like, you know, with a family member that she can trust.
Yeah, with a relative who does not have the rake in their basement.
Yeah, again, even at the end, like, you know, even in the good endings where like the person lives, the Lux Boys will still throw that, like, you know, that extra twist in there, because you know, they like they like to switch it up. And speaking of switching it up, this is one of the ones with like a monster that has a little bit more of a modus operandi.
He's very similar to and I think the reason that I got this one and the one with instructions confused is because these are very similar like stories, and there's recurring lore almost to the point that you could definitely, like, if you sat down and made like a red string board of every episode of Life of Luxury, you could probably come up with a kind of grand unifying theory final boss of luxury, because there's recurring things of like monsters that wear other people's skin, that replace other people, like sort of evil fucked up surgery, instructions, kind of lost tapes, like things that attack families and kind of get rid of people one by one.
There is one in particular as well where like they do that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood thing where like a father turns his daughter into like a dog monster. Like this will go to some really high concept places from time to time.
There's a human centipede as well. And then of course there's the Dolphin Man. I think he's probably the most famous Lux monster just because Danny Gonzalez put him in that song. There is one where there's like a Dolphin Man who was implied to be like the product of some kind of weird fucked up surgery that the owner of the house was doing. There's like a Rat Man in one of them as well. The one with the Rat Man is their most recent one, I think. I watched it the other night, and it's like they are the masters of being very ambitious even when they stay within this kind of like weird gonzo low budget zone. Because the Rat Man one, they had to make a giant hamster wheel for that Rat Man to run around on. He runs around on a giant hamster wheel. I love it. It's just inspired.
I have seen many monsters in these videos that like kind of boggle the mind on how they were able to make it work, and the meat husk gets there, you know? It's one of those things where you hate the way this thing moves in both of its forms and in the slow like build up to what it exactly is.
Yes.
It's very well done.
So it's like the woman brings the Lux Boys in because her husband has joined a men's group that believes in like bodily perfection. Already love it.
Yeah, creating the perfect body. Which, no, that origin story is so funny because it's like, yeah, this guy went to like Andrew Tate's transhuman experience.
Yeah, he went into the woods for the transhumanist experience to become long. And there are so many like great lines. Like, I feel like Catherine's actor is really, really good.
I just gotta say, how come all the women's groups are like, you know, sewing circles and doing magic and like, you know, cooking food together, and all the men's group are like, let's morph ourselves into beast monsters and meat husks.
Yes. Really says a lot about society. So there's another like great, like in the same vein as I hear him groaning, I don't know if it's in pain. There's a line in this one that I think about all the time, which was like, Parker's like, so he joined a men's group because he was insecure about his body. And Catherine says, he was perfect before then, but now when I look at him, I feel sick.
Again, not to like, you know, like psychoanalyze each one of these, but I think there is this kind of feeling of like, maybe this is what it feels like when like the man you love joins a strange fringe group and then like kind of becomes like a completely different person. And then, you know, the fact that with this like whole meat husk thing, he's trying to sort of possess and replace his wife and daughter. There's something there, you know? Maybe in this country right now, there's something like that.
Yes. And he does end up getting Catherine in the end because there's that very cool sequence in the mannequin room. Like, this is like the production design for these videos, for how cheap they are, like, and like how obviously cheap they look. the production design is very thoughtful. Like, I love the fact that he has got in his, like, lab where he's been doing surgery on himself in the basement, he's got all of these mannequins. Because obviously he's like, the obsession with like, being the perfect being and, like, creating the perfect human husk. Like, the mannequins are, like, what he uses as his reference. It's similar thing of, like, I watched another one of their more recent ones, which I clicked on it because it had enemy of the show, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey in the thumbnail. Because they used, like, a Halloween mask from that movie as one of the character costumes. But, yeah, it's called Don't Fall Asleep at Petey's Playhouse. And, there is when they first go in, the floor is covered in those kind of, like, EVA foam, like, squares that they have in, like YMCA or, like, Kindy Gym with, like, the colored foam squares. And I thought to myself, wow, you had to buy a lot of EVA foam squares. I respect that dedication. But then there's a shot where you can see there's a clock on the wall, and it has no numbers on it. It just says playtime. And I loved that. That was, like, a fun thought. Once again, like cheap, janky, but very, like, well-considered set design and, like, production design.
Yeah, and I will point out, too, is, like, these guys don't, like, you know, upload with crazy frequency. They take their time to cook these things before they, like, release them. And it really shows. And the mannequin hallway in It Was Hiding in Her Closet also, like, creates, like, it, like, the fact that they go down there after the wife and the daughter go missing, and before they even encounter anything, Chester and Parker don't notice, but we the viewers see on one of these mannequins clearly a skin face mask where the rest of them are just like regular mannequin faces, and it shits you up a little bit to see that, and they don't react to it. Like, they're one step behind you and you're like, no, you guys,
you're like, get out of there, Chester and Parker.
Also, I gotta say too, like, you know, in the lead up to discovering this place, they got their cameras like smashed by the meat husk in dad mode, and I wrote down in my notes, I was like, you guys really need to get smash-proof cameras.
They do. I mean, it's not gonna beat that one episode where the guy, like, eats all of the cameras. I still think about that. Tonight, I eat.
The guy just declares his intention to eat and eats every camera.
Eats the cameras. Eat every camera. It's like climb every mountain, eat every camera.
That's the thing. Even though the costumes like are generally pretty similar, like, you know, not to say there aren't outlier monsters, you cannot predict the like thing that one of these things will do. Like, even from the start of the video when they like tease it, you don't know where it's going, and that's what I love, because it doesn't even borrow heavily from like existing horror tropes. They have their own like lexicon and compendium of things that their creatures will do. We've basically gone through like, you know, kind of the life of luxury format, and we're gonna be moving away from that a little bit to discuss two other videos that are in their greater brand, because these guys, they make this type of video and they make it well over on Life of Luxury, but they have other stuff.
They also have Luxury Dark, which is where they buy stuff off the dark web. And bafflingly, in the sort of end cards of the videos, Parker always says, this is our channel for exclusively scary content. Life of Luxury is also that. So.
Yeah, it's true. And also, like, Luxury Dark is, in a way, it feels like a more, like, pared down, like, vlog style. Like, don't get me wrong, they're still in, like, the eternal night.
The night dimension, yeah. These videos are sort of more overtly comedic, because you have, like, it's more about the banter between Chester and Parker.
Do you think she's gonna want to adopt us?
Well, first of all, we're not orphans, and second of all, we're grown men, so no.
The one we decided to, like, zoom in on is the fish one.
Yes! I love the fish so much! I love that they keep calling it a fish when it's clearly an octopus.
Yeah, and also, like, the dark web website, because, like, they construct the, like, web design that, like, we see for the videos, and, like, you know, you have, like, Parker going through them, it's like, we got something called a homunculus.
Yeah, Skeletor and Homunculus.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like, again, like, this and also, like, the dating one have such great fake, like, profiles.
Oh, the dating one is so funny. The girl in the Agnes from the dating episode, from the dark web dating site episode, has the most like Neil Breen movie acting. She's hilarious.
Come on, just like
Don't touch me like that again or I'll scream!
Don't you touch me or I'll scream!
I watched that one with Al, and she said she felt like a weirdly unreasonable secondary characters from like a Dan Schneider show, like iCarly or something. Feels like a customer at like the theater where Drake and Josh work.
Oh, totally. Like, yeah, just like jumping on the countertops and stuff. Yeah, I also love that like the scary stories to tell in the dark like lady is as Gork as one of the dating profiles.
Yeah, it's so funny when they use just like for filler images, sometimes they just use like copyrighted stuff. Like in the clown one, like art from Terrifier is on there as well. And like in the then on the dog website one, it's like Smile Dog and like a watermarked Getty Images people of two people in a like a pantomime dog costume.
Yeah, and the fish in the like fish video are similarly cursed. The one they end up going with, the blackfish, which is clearly an octopus with like maybe like a face on it.
Yeah, with like a doopy little face. I love him. And Chester names him Poncho, which I'm very tickled by.
There's something that I really like about Chester's characterization, and it's that if he's in somebody else's house, he's always scared of everything. But if it's like bringing something scary into his, he's like, this will be part of the family. I'll bring something in and I'll take care of it and it'll be fine. Like, it's like he will invite the bad juju into his own place, but he senses it immediately where he's somewhere else. Whereas Parker is the opposite. He'll be like, no, we gotta go and like deal with this stuff. It's fine. Why are you getting scared? And sure enough, the blackfish arrives, and I love that it's just in this like styrofoam box filled with water.
The styrofoam box is labeled like equine biohazard or something.
Yeah, like
something really weird like that.
It's insane. And then like Chester's like, what does that say? Equine biohazard, is that the brand? And Parker's like, I'm not gonna answer that.
Yeah. And then they put it in a tank. They fill the tank up with water from the hose. And then they put it in the tank. And then it busts out of the tank, crawls up the stairs, goes into Chester's room, goes into his bed, and bites him on the leg.
Yeah, and then they chase it out. And it breaks through the glass of the window again.
And it just like flings itself out through the window. So it's like... At the end, they're like, all right, guys, we gotta clean up all this broken glass.
Yeah, we got a window busted and we're down a tank, but hey, if you could smash that like button, get this video. I think it's so funny. Again, like, you brought it up earlier, but it's worth dwelling upon because, like, when you've watched enough videos from them, you do start to feel like, man, these guys have the most absurd lives. You just imagine, like, how any, like, real non-fictional person would handle just being exposed to this, like, one break from reality moment is enough to ruin somebody's life, right? But with these guys, like in the luxury verse, it seems like it's every other week that something goes so wrong that they could never possibly think of the world that they live in the same way again.
I know they're probably not meant to be thought of as being in the same universe because it's like they're very, they don't pretend that any of this is real.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is so funny to imagine that it's all, like, connected, because it's like, oh, man, after a hard week of, getting chased around a house full of plastic wrap by, like, the tallest, weirdest guy in the world, I love to go on the dark web and buy fish.
Yeah, exactly. There's a sort of loose continuity in that, like, the characters kind of know that they do this sort of thing. And there's also this, like, bit of kayfabe that they always kind of treat the events as, like, the same. But when, like, the video ends, it's basically, like, that's the end of that incident, It's like, our hands are clean, we're basically, like, in a completely new scenario. And we definitely haven't encountered this one. Props to the tall guy from these videos. He's putting in work.
I want them to do, like, a behind-the-scenes video because I want this guy. I want someone to interview this guy. I want to know who he is. Wouldn't it be so funny if it's like that's not even digital effects, his voice just sounds like that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, I know I've seen a few different, like, indie horror movies, like, from, like, really, like, small budget way back in the day when this channel went by a different name and had a different character helming it. I reviewed this video called Disaster LA, which, at one point, there's, like, it's like a zombie movie, and at one point, they do have just their tallest friend in a bit of makeup lunge menacingly at them, and it's like, wow, okay, so that's... If you just know someone who is like freakishly huge, you're like halfway to getting like a horror monster. Reach out to if you're doing any kind of like indie stuff. A little tip for the audience: if you know somebody who's just like freakishly tall, give them a call.
Yeah, put them in a white morph suit and get them to like wiggle on the ground menacingly.
That's really all you need. That's a brief overview of the dark web stuff. The last one we want to cover, when finally dawn arrives for the Lux Boys.
Yes.
They get a little happier.
And then they become Luxury Reacts, which used to be called Luxury Light.
That's right.
I think they should have kept it that, but Luxury Reacts probably has better SEO.
I know. I get why they did it, but I did like the concept of Luxury Light because it ties so well into the sort of theming of this channel where it's like the boys are just like hanging out in the real world where there are no monsters and they're just doing like, fun challenge related YouTube videos or pulling pranks.
Yes. There was but they're like way more like unhinged than any other kind of like challenge YouTube I've ever seen. Cause like a normal YouTuber will do like, I filled a swimming pool with Orbeez, or like, I filled a swimming pool with Jello. Luxury Light, they did, I filled a swimming pool with human hair.
There's this line from the human hair in the swimming pool video that just absolutely shreds me. It's when Parker goes, I want to describe exactly what this feels like. It feels awful. Yeah. When they're like in the pool of the hair.
Parker is
it's
so
funny.
deadpan. He's really, really funny.
No, I love it because the thing is, like, these guys will, and especially on the non-Life of Luxury videos, occasionally they will, like, get closer to kind of, like, breaking character or, like, being, like, a little bit, like, more spontaneous or seemingly unprepared or unrehearsed. But they do, like, keep the core characterization of, like, Chester is, like, extremely, like, credulous and very, like, over-the-top sort of, like, upbeat and chipper or like scared. He has like the sort of like, high emotions, whereas Parker is a lot more like, dude, bro, it's fine. We'll handle it. It's fine.
Yeah, they're kind of like if it was just Shaggy and Fred.
Yeah, yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. And so you were going to say the video we wanted to focus on is the feeding my new pig slop in a Tesla.
Yes. So Parker is getting a Tesla delivered to the house, and Chester thinks that he needs to give Parker a surprise as well. So he dresses up like a farmer, drives the Tesla out to a pig farm, and picks up an adorable little baby pig that he decides to name Parker.
I love the double level deception on Chester's part here, because not only is he dressing up like a farmer to credibly buy this pig, he uses Parker's credit card to buy the pig.
And the farmer goes, "Are you Parker Hajiskari?" And Chester just goes, "Yes."
Yes. Which is so funny because it's like, not only are you stealing your friend's identity, you're stealing your friend's identity and dressing up as a farmer to like fool the farmer into thinking that you are your friend, but you're also you, the farmer. And so he gets this pig, and the first thing the pig does when it's in the car is like do like
it kicks the screen.
It kicks the screen, but it also like does a flip head first onto the passenger seat.
Yes. And then it takes a shit on the back seat.
It's awesome. Like, this is like, it's so funny.
I want to
because
believe
like,
this one was unscripted, man. I want to believe this one was totally unscripted.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, this pig is just like putting in the work. It is like pure animal chaos. Like, it's perfectly safe within this like car. There's nothing that it would like eat that would have been like a risk to it. And Parker is like, gentle, or Chester and Parker are gentle with it. But it like, it's like clearly this pig is just like, I don't know what any of this stuff is.
Yeah, and I just love when he finally shows the pig And I love that he keeps going like, listen, Tesla's really low quality. I think the stuff in here, the parts are made out of cheap plastic. I think it's really low quality.
yeah, which, it's like, what do you mean Tesla products are gonna break or are prone to fracturing?
By the way, this video was from 5 years ago. It has aged beautifully. How much Chester is shit-talking Tesla.
Yeah, and also I do want to point out too that this Tesla that they have in this video, because it was 5 years ago, it looks like a real car. It looks like it is a car pretending to be a car rather than like a trash can doing an impression of a car, which is what the Cybertruck is.
The line from this video that has stuck with me and is rent-free lodged in the folds of my brain is when Parker goes, "Why did you name the pig Parker? You should have named it something creative like Porker." And then Chester goes, "What the hell does that mean?"
Yeah, no, it's so funny. And again, like, messing up the Tesla and like feeding the pig slop and like getting, a little bit of McDonald's, feeding the pig like a little burger. Like all that stuff is very, very funny. But the pig itself really is the star of the video.
Oh, the pig is so cute.
Just its like, complete naivete, and when like, both of the boys are holding it increasingly not knowing, like, it's like, all right, I guess I'm being held. I don't know.
And then it runs away, and they have
they have to catch the pig.
Oh, the pig is so cute.
Yeah, I also love... At the very end of the video, too, the pig is, like, starting to, like, squeal, because he's just like, I'm new. I didn't know what being alive is like, and it's really weird. I'm getting some weird vibes from this whole life thing.
Yeah. I just remembered something from the Luxury Dark videos that I wanted to bring up that I forgot to bring up.
Oh, yeah, please.
But it's sort of on topic, because it's in that same family of, like, the pets. Similar to the we bought a fish off the dark web. There's another one that they did that was we bought a parasite off the dark web, and the absolute highlight of that one to me is that Chester buys a parasite off the dark web and then it infects him. I don't know what you thought you were getting from this, buddy.
It's literally a parasite.
But then they go to the doctor, but his doctor they go to, like, the unfurnished Life of Luxury house, and the doctor is this guy in a wife beater with a gold chain just eating beads out of a can.
Yeah, no.
And Parker is like, what are you doing? Are you serious? This is not a doctor. And Chester just goes, well, yeah, I've been seeing this guy for a year. He's fine. I don't have health insurance. Oh, and another great, like, side character performance in one of these videos is there's one where, like, a guy pretends to be a woman to get them to come to his house, and he keeps going, yeah, I catfished you guys. And then the monster kills him after he says, like, a bunch of homophobic stuff to Parker and Chester.
I imagine he's super embarrassed right now.
In general, I'd say that, like, these channels are well worth your time if you want, like, a little bit of entertainment. They've brought us hours and hours of joy. We will rewatch these videos. I think what's great about them is that they offer a window in, like, into the YouTube that could be. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, it's like, there really is no excuse for making, like, AI slop content. Like, there really is no excuse for doing the kind of, calling tralaleo tralala at 3 a.m. Gone wrong, gone sexual.
Oh, God, yeah. No, not the brain rot. Yeah.
There's no excuse to be making that kind of content, because Life of Luxury are at 9.16 million subscribers. And the reason that they are that big is because the stuff they make is just good. And it's like, yeah, I think most of their views do come from, like, quite young kids, but it's like kids want stuff that's good.
Yeah, no, they want to be entertained. They want to be a little bit scared.
They can't always tell what the good stuff is. They can't always tell what's good and what's bad, But when you show them something that's good, that like aligns with their interests, that's going to be something that they like for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, exactly. And you get some real great fun characters in the form of Chester and Parker. It is like a television show, They're making this kind of Ghost Adventures thing with these weird, crazy monsters.
I love it. I just love the idea that this is what kids now are going to remember, look back on and remember as fondly as we remember Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dog?
And honestly, genuinely, I think more people should be unafraid to try and make content like this. I know that it takes a lot of money to get this stuff off the ground to begin with. Because I know that I don't have the resources right now to do what these guys are doing, but I will say the effort itself is commendable. We could just straight up, given everything else that YouTube has become, putting aside the AI, putting aside anything to do with culture war or politics, we could nuke every video that is related to generational stereotypes and divides off the face of the platform and replace them with Ghost Adventures horror type stuff or bizarre kind of human hair in the pool videos, and we would have a better platform. We would have a better platform that would be more in touch with the roots of what this really could have been, of people just showcasing their weirdness and their talents and the bizarre ideas for entertainment that come into their heads. That's what this used to be all about before it was how much clout can you get by wording things that would basically be a tweet in 20-minute video essays, quote unquote, that are clearly unscripted and are just someone holding a microphone.
Yeah.
The Chester and Parker are keeping it real. The luxury boys are all right, is what I have to say about that.
They are.
Well, that about wraps up this video. I guess, I would say, subscribe to our channel if you are just seeing us now. If Chester and Parker or any of their fans are watching this, shout out. We love you guys. Leave a comment if you have a favorite Luxury Boys video, and also hype the video, because that's a thing we have to say now, which is kind of crazy. Hype for the video. Hype for the hype gods. Likes for the like throne.
Hype for the hype gods. And also, if you like to support artists,
check the links in the stinks. Yeah.
Click the links, support the Kingmaker histories. If that's your kind of thing, I don't know. I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do with your money. I can only gently suggest.
Your dad was in an accident, and now he looks like a weird monster.
Yeah, no. Maybe I am your dad. Maybe I'm just wearing his skin.
Yeah, and for the rest of you, we will see you in the near future.